Time for baritone today. I am finally live. We are going to play some baritone. I'm going to go post a link at jollyrogerukulele.com. That is our main website for all these broadcasts, and you should go and check it out. You're probably watching the recording. Once I get the link up, Control V, and once I call Microsoft and tell them to stop having it scroll down after you hit Control V, which is so dumb, then I will highlight it. I will link it. I will hit Enter. I will hit Edit, Settings, Open in New Window, Update, and Update. And that means that momentarily here we will have a huge bunch of folks screaming in to learn baritone ukulele. Usually get 7 or 8 every day, and we are changing the face of baritone ukulele in the world. So let me double check that the link is actually there and working. Patience. The internet has been very the internet's performance right now is very lackluster, and I think it is because everybody on the planet is on the streaming services right now. Today we're going to be playing Happy Birthday, and it is one of those songs that I tried to get everybody to memorize. Nobody does, but somebody should. And Cindy made it in. Vic says my sound is good. That's lovely. And we're going to just be knocking this guy out today. Valerie, link is working from Jolly. Yay! JollyRogerUkulele.com if you're watching if you run into this and you're like, I need to know how to play Happy Birthday on baritone ukulele. We're going to play it in the key of D if I remember right? Do I have it on my list? I don't have it in here. I better download it. How many minutes do we have? We got 3 minutes. If you're watching the video, you can fast forward 3 minutes. In the meantime, I'm going to go download it because I don't have it in my thingamabobber here. I have all the ukulele stuff down here, but all the baritone stuff is new. And so I keep thinking that I'm ready for class when I'm not. And so it's a bit of a disappointment in that I am like I am. Whoops, that fixed there. Doesn't take but a jiffy once I actually get everything up and running here. How is everybody? Diane, good to see you. Ray, good. We're going to get you guys. Some of you are ukulele players and some of you are not, which is exciting, right? Most of you guys have had some experience on ukulele. Some of you on guitar, and then of course, a couple of you I don't know if have it. This is your instrument. This is the one you're working on, and that's actually delightful. All right. Let's go here, download baritone. Okay, I do not have Happy Birthday in there, so we better go grab it. Okay, scroll. Look at all this music we've done. Oh my goodness. Happy Birthday baritone. There you are. Wait patiently, hit download, hit OK. Download complete. Go back. We'll start in 1 minute, guys. Well, that assumes I can run my little machine here. Storage, downloads, baritone. Happy birthday. All right, now we're ready. All right. Let's make some music. Cindy made it in. See you Sunday, Diane and I hope. Oh yeah, Cindy and Diane. A bunch of the ukulele players are having a Sunday meetups in the park when it's warmer, and I haven't been able to go because I'm usually writing music like crazy on Sunday. But I'm delighted you guys are doing that. Michelina made it in. Greetings from Portland. Portland's smoky and Oregon is in bad shape for the fires, unfortunately. Terry's back. More ukulele for Terry. Jack. Yeah. You know, it's interesting. We talk about that, but classical guitar, you can study it for your entire life and never master it. But you could play it on this without that much. You do lose those low notes, lose your deep bass notes, which is in classical music. Not oddly, is it's important, but it's not on most of the tunes. Is not usually the most important, and it just gives you a chance to play that level at a much with what not near the pain and suffering. The other thing I like about this, the fretboard on this is actually you have a little bit more room to work than on a classical guitar, and so it's actually quite pleasant to play some of that more advanced music on this instrument. um, I've always been amazed at how much more room I have on ukulele and on baritone than I have on a guitar to get done what needs to get done. When in fact, what needs to get done is fairly complex and fairly complicated. It'd be nice to have some room to do it. So, yeah, so it's definitely will bring you back to that sense of, hey, I'm playing classic style, maybe not necessarily classical music, but definitely playing with all of the skill sets that we use on that other instrument, on this instrument. That's why I make a joke. I teach everybody how to play the 17th century way, which is, honest to goodness, that's what I do. This is a little bit low for you guys to see. I'm going to put the foot pedal on the wrong foot so I can raise it up, and that way you can see a little bit better what I'm doing with my right hand. How about that? There we go. Guys, happy birthday. Number one, most important. We're going to learn how to play it all three ways. You're only ever going to play it one way, which is to sing instrument. And the way you play it, when that comes up, you don't want to have to use sheet music. So we're going to talk about memorizing this one. You have to memorize three chords. D chord, happy birthday to A7, you, happy birthday to D chord, you, happy birthday dear Joe Schmo, happy birthday to you. And you don't need to use the fancy A7 if you're singing it. So you need this D chord, you need this A7, and you need this G. And that's it. That's the only three chords. And you just have to remember what order they come in. Starting with D chord, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear. This is the hard part. Joe Schmo. And then just use your regular D's and A7s. Happy birthday to you. Okay. That's the only chord. The only chord that's different is that G chord when it goes over Joe Schmo or Terry, Cindy, Jack, right? That's the only chord that's different. Otherwise, it's D's and A7s. And so it's sooner rather than later, just go ahead and get this one where you can sing it and strum it without looking at the sheet music. It's never going to change. You're going to be doing it the rest of your life. You might as well do it on baritone because it sounds awesome. And I just think it's worth the time. Let's go ahead and strum and sing it. If you want, I've got these a little crazy for you. That last A7 should not be the bar A7. It really should be an open A7. When you look at the tuff uke, it's very clear that it's going to have to be an open A7. So it's probably really a typo, I would say. I think what I will probably do is go back through and make this one mirror the ukulele one exactly. So this should be 2020, and these ones should be 111. Let's see, should be 2 2 2 3s, and we should put a 2 there and a 2 there. Yeah, I think that'll be better. 2 2 2 3, and all right. So I might post you a different version of this a little bit, but I think what we've got here is perfectly usable as a learning tool. A couple of things I don't like about this. I taught the ukulele version of this earlier today, and I actually think that one might be a little bit easier or more correct. I don't know. Let's play just whatever chords. Get your D chords, A7 chords, and G chord. And no need when you're singing to use the good A7. That A7 sounds so much nicer than the open one, but the open one's easier. And if you're just singing happy birthday, you don't need to bring in a bunch of, you don't need to make it too hard on yourself. Okay, so let's give it a try. D chord, 1, 2. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Joe Schmo. Happy birthday to you. What I recommend when the first measure 0, happy, don't strum on that. Just start singing happy and then bring your strum in. And then on measure 6, after Joe Schmo, then don't strum there either. Just start singing happy birthday to you. It just sounds better when you're singing it. If you try to strum there, Joe Schmo, happy, you'll end up in the wrong tonality there. And I'm such a bad singer, I'm going to take advantage of whatever opportunities I have. Happy is, it's unclear whether you should use a G chord above it or a D chord above it. Probably a D chord, but if you put the D chord above it, it happy birthday. So it's really probably the A7 fancy bar that you want to put over there, but you're not going to do that much work for it. It's not worth it, especially when you can just say, yeah, happy, and you're good. So that would be my suggestion, is memorizing this one as a strummer, so that when the opportunity comes up, you don't got to go grab your sheet music. You can just play it. Okay. Chords themselves, for those of you guys that are newer, obviously the D chord is challenging on some level. Okay, and it's not going away. So just be patient with yourself and let that thing come in. Again, remember, it's going to be easier if you're holding your ukulele properly. If you dropped it down here and you're trying to do it, you're going to make your life so much harder because your thumb's going to come up. So you'll notice I don't think I ever vary from this. My instrument is almost invariably in this position when I'm playing. If it drops down to about 45, you'll see me, I'll be picking it up without even thinking about it. I need this instrument up at this angle in order to do this properly, and so that's what we're working on. Let's talk about the melody. We'll walk through every note, make sure that you're cool with it, and then we're going to go on. Notice that you have no ones in this song. There's no ones at all, but there are plenty of twos, plenty of threes, and then at measure 5, there's a 5 that shows up. So when there's no ones and you have a 5 and you got lots of twos and threes, you should be playing in second position. Okay, so now instead of the twos and threes being middle and ring, they're going to be index and middle. That allows your pinky to get this 5 that's going to show up. Okay, so first 2 notes are 2 twos on the 3rd string, and then you got a 0 on the 2nd string, and you go back to the 2. I haven't lifted that up. Message from Amazing Grace is, don't lift it up if you don't have to. Just don't lift it up. Just hang on to it. Okay, so this stays here. Got a 3 on the 2nd string. And now I don't have a choice. Now I got to move my index finger down. Okay, go back to the 2s. Open. Another 2. Open. Still hanging on to my index finger here. And now grab the 3. The reason we're doing that is making sure those notes have every opportunity to completely ring out while we're busy doing other work. End of measure 4, you got 2 more 2s. There's your pinky on 5, index on 2, middle finger on 3, index on 2, and then open. Let that ring the appropriate amount of time. There's an international standard. Play 3 threes. That's with your middles. Index on 2, middle on 3, open, and then 3. Okay, and again, he didn't move at all after he got planted on that measure 7. The thing that I think is important for us to just think about musically is everybody knows this tune. And so if you're singing and strumming and there's other people in the room, you have to go with the international standard for how long that second note in measure 6 is. Now, I've just put a fermata over that. And that means if you're playing it by yourself, you get to pick however long you want. Joe Schmo, happy birthday. You can make it extra long if you want. But as a matter of international standard, there isn't this exact amount of time what we all have agreed on of how long that note should be. It should be a little bit longer, but not crazy long. Happy birthday, dear Joe Schmo. Happy birthday. That everybody has that exact same time in their head, and that's what they're going to do. So if you're playing with other people, you have to go with that. If you're playing in an orchestra position where you actually have some leader, that fermata that's sitting above Schmo, it's the eyeball looking thing. It's basically saying, hey, look up at the conductor. The conductor will tell you when to go. Happy birthday, dear Joe Schmo. And maybe I'm in the conductor and I'm in a saucy mood. I want to make him sit there for a while. Happy birthday to you. And it's one of those things when in our orchestra here, people get fussy with me about it. If I don't do the fermatas, if sometimes I skip them, I'm allowed to do that as the conductor. Sometimes I make them too long. I'm allowed to do that as the conductor. People have this notion that it should be exactly what they're used to hearing on the recording, and it doesn't have to be. And so if you're in an orchestra, if you have a leader in your group, if you have a small group, and then somebody is going to be the conductor, you go with whatever they say. If you're in a room full of people who aren't musicians and you're just singing and strumming, you will go with the regular amount of pause that's supposed to be there. But as a soloist, you get to choose whatever you want to do there. You could put no pause in there. You could put in a huge pause, put in a regular pause. But Joe Schmo, that little fermata is something to at least be aware of it, that it's there, and that you're going to be making some decisions about how to handle that depending on the situation you're playing in. Okay, let's go ahead and play the melody here, and then when we get to Joe Schmo, I'm gonna have you look up at me and then look back down and be ready. Okay, from the top, 1, 2. Look up at me and go. And then my baritone's still ringing right now, so my pinky or my middle finger has not moved at all. You really, really, really do want to talk yourself into just don't take anything off of this or add anything on unless you have to. Okay, and if we're playing melody, we're playing 2s and 3s and 5s. Your finger should stay down absolutely while you go do other things. If you're playing electric guitar, we have to sometimes modify that because sometimes the overtones get ridiculous and they start running into each other. And so if you amplify your baritone, it's possible. You may not always do that. But when you're playing acoustic, it's very unusual for me to need to stop a string from ringing on an ukulele or a baritone ukulele. They just don't ring long enough to make it a problem. And what they more do is by letting them ring out, they kind of moosh into each other. They sound nice. All right, let's run through the tough uke, nice and every note we're going to do. And make sure when you're thinking tough uke, what are we on? Tough uke. Your first thought is grab the chord. Just always grab the chord and then see what happens. Okay, so I grab the chord. That's my chord. I got 2, 2. I'm going to play those. I'm already holding it down. And then I got 0, 2, 0. I got a problem because I'm holding a 3 here, so I'll lift him up. Then I'm going to hit that 2. Then I'll put the 3 right back down. And then I got 2, 0, 2. Okay, my 2 is in the wrong string, so I'm going to hold it, move it down. Okay, now I got 2, 0, 0. Move it down. Open. And then a nice D chord here. Make sure your rest stroke is finishing there. Hit the 2s. Pinky up on 5. Now this is a tough one, right? You got a lot of stretch here. So this is what I want. I want you to do your D chord with your pinky up here, but you may not be able to do that yet. If you can't, index, middle, and pinky, get your ring out of the business. That's what you do, okay? But long term, you got to be able to do this. You got to be able to put your D chord on and put your pinky up here. I even asked guitar players to do this, and it's a long stretch. Again, if you haven't been with me earlier today, we worked on this thing, okay? Don't use the other hand to push or pull or do any of that. You can injure yourself. But just without anything, push this out. Let that tendon stretch. Feels good. Then this one. Let that hand stretch. And this one. Okay. Doing what you can. This one's not quite so bad. And this one, of course, is easy. Okay. And just go back. It's not a bad idea just sitting around when you're not playing to do this one especially. We got to get this pinky comfortable, strong, supple so that it moves away from the ring finger. When we first start, our ring finger wants to go and hang out with the pinky wherever the pinky is, and so we want to help them develop independent lives from one another, and so that's probably the best exercise that I know of to get those guys going. You know, tighten your fist up, loosen that. Okay, don't push back on your fingers. You can injure yourself. You know, just tighten it up, loosen it. I'm getting arthritis as I get older, right? And so this kind of sort of activity is important to let my hands know, hey, not yet. Okay. Yes. And you'll notice I fight this on my right hand a little more because I don't do it as much. Left hand, I'm always stretching those fingers out. Right hand, not so much. Okay. And we do a lot of arpeggio picking and that sort of stuff, doing this kind of stuff. Just keeping the health of your hands as much as you can. We got to get them strong, but we got to keep them supple. And so between the two, they're always fighting against each other. Now, when we get to, I was up measure 5, D chord with your pinky. Now get rid of your pinky. 0, 2, 3. Nothing has moved here. And now at measure 6, grab your a real A chord, and then all zeros. Okay, a couple of 3s. Go to your D chord, into 3, and then I'm gonna the tablature is correct here. 2, 0, 2, 0 is what you want to do, and then D chord. I put the wrong A7 up there above there, the chord grid. I want to get that changed for you guys. All right, let's play through it at speed. Again, when we play tough acts, we play slower usually. And when we're playing slower and we get to that fermata, let's let that ring for a minute before we dive right back in. 1, 2. Go through and pluck it now. Okay, that was with thumb. Let's pluck. 1, 2. Go. Is it going well? Making sense? I hope so. Yeah. Let's talk very briefly about if you were to do a duet with this, you would be playing the melody line. Somebody else would be grabbing those chords. When you're either singing or when you're just playing chords as an accompaniment, you can do the simpler of the chords. So you really can get away with just these easy A7s. Now, which one sounds better? This A7 sounds way better than this A7, but either of those will work. And I would say, generally speaking, when you end up being the chord player, which you will as a lot as a baritone player, and you see a chord coming up that you know can be simplified, most of the time you're going to be fine playing the simpler of the chords, but not always, you know. And so you want to know both sets of chords, as we've talked about lots already. As baritone players, you guys got to be a little bit smarter than musically. You got to know your music a little bit better than ukulele players, because we don't really ever adjust anything for those guys. But for you guys, it's so normal for you just to have the chords. Sometimes not even the chord grid, right? Sometimes it just says play a D chord, and you're like, oh God, I got to go look up what a D chord is, you know. And sometimes you'll find that D chord sounds better here, or sometimes the bar chord on it. Sometimes you were going to go up to, I was looking for the high one here, which is 2 on 10s. And so, you know, you'll find different D chords, and sometimes the higher ones have a better overall feeling for the song than the lower ones. Most of the time as a baritone player, we're looking to have baritones be the deep voice in the group. And so we will be looking a lot of times for you just to know all of your open chords down here on the bottom. However, sometimes you'll know as a musician, you're just like, that sounds too low, and then you'll be looking for chords a little further up the neck. That's why having a chord finder on your phone is not a bad idea. I have one that I've been using for years, and it has baritone chords on there. And a lot of times, you know, you get thinking, all right, I got this down, and I know what I'm doing, but then you think, well, do I have a better choice a little further up the neck? And you may not have every chord memorized all the way up the neck. Just grab your chord finder out and check it and make sure that it makes sense. All right. Last thing, this is a super short class today, guys. I guess on purpose a little bit. Let's do play it one time through singing and strumming, play it one time through with just the melody, and then play the last time through as tough uke. This will be your big test before tomorrow's final. Okay, here you go. From singing and strumming, melody, tough uke. 1, 2. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Joe Show. Go. Happy birthday to you. Plucking. 2, 2. Go. Okay, and then finally tough uke. Grab your chord to get started. 1, 2. Beautiful. Okay, so tomorrow we're going to play the top 5 intro to ukulele tunes. We will play My Spaghetti Monster, Yankee Doodle, Brahms Lullaby, Happy Birthday, and Amazing Grace. And you also have your better bar worksheet where we're going to be going all the way up and down, just using your bar over and over. So we'll do those 5 songs. We will play them through with chords. We'll play them through with melody, and we will play them through with tough acts. So tough uke. So you guys tonight, make sure you have those songs available and ready for you to go. Again, in building your book for this activity where you can make sure you're not missing anything, I recommend just putting everything in alphabetically and hanging on to it that way. Put all of your songs together in one section alphabetically, and then any worksheets or that type of stuff, keep those in their own section. But for the most part, all of your songs stay alphabetically, and then we just flip through your book. That's usually the fastest way to find what you need to find. And we'll run through that tomorrow to make sure, and any questions that come up tonight, really dig into it. Make sure that you're be able to play it in all three of those different ways, and that way, if you have a friend, you can play it in the fourth way, which is to combine one of you plays melody and one of you plays chords, and that's actually the best. That's the most fun thing you can do on the internet. Not on the internet. Well, it's the most fun way to play ukulele is when you get a couple people together and just do duets, and one person grabs the chords, the other person grabs the melody. It's super, a lot of fun, and less difficult for both of you, right? And then I think that's what I need to know. That's what I need to tell you about. Questions, comments, concerns. Terry says, I use ukulele fretboard on my phone, but always open to new apps. Yeah, I use ukulele fretboard. I got an Android, and that's the one I use. It's called ukulele fretboard, and it's for Android. I don't know what the best baritone one is on iPhone, but try a few and find one that meets your needs. I think some of them are a little simpler. Some of them are more complicated. Most of the ukulele ones, I believe, will have a baritone function on them. And so just, poke around, download a few, try ones until you find one you like, and then obviously delete the other ones. But the ukulele fretboard for Android is the one that I use, and I've been using it forever, and it's lovely. It helps to have a tiny bit of music theory in order to run that one, but you don't have to. So yeah, that one works. Tanya says, to perfect timing, my neighbor turns 70 tomorrow. Perfect timing. Okay. So if I'm Tanya, I got choices. She's 70, right? So 70, if it's just going to be me and her, she's going to be patient. She knows I'm learning to play an instrument. I might ask her if I could play it to her different ways, right? Would you mind if I came over and played you Happy Birthday on my baritone? And I might see if I could knock out Tough Uke. And I would practice for an hour prior to going down there, and I would do it. On the other hand, if there are going to be a couple other people there and they're going to sing to her or whatever, I would just grab the chords, right? And I would probably write them on my hand: D, A7, D, A7, D, A7, G, D, A7, D, just to have them written on your thumb. Happy birthday to you. And do that way. And that way you don't even need to bring your sheet music down. And then they're going to think you're really something. My goodness, she can play without sheet music. And so Tanya, you'll give us a report if you're able to pull it off and play Happy Birthday for her. Also know, when you are a new musician, you're supposed to sound terrible. So if you walk in and you just kill it, they're going to think you're up to something, right? And it's perfectly fine to mess it up a little bit. Carol. All right, guys, have a wonderful day. This is exciting that we're moving forward. Obviously, if you have questions or concerns, send me a note, or obviously that's what the chat room is for. We are pushing forward with this. I'm probably going to clean this sheet music up a tiny bit and give you a little bit revised version. I see a couple things on it I don't really like. And so, again, I'm trying to match it up almost exactly to the exact same thing we're doing in ukulele so that you guys all come out with the same exact learning tools and sequence of events and all that stuff. So probably be making some minor adjustments to this one, but this piece of paper is perfectly fine in general. So there we go. Hope you guys have a wonderful day. Take care of yourselves. Be good and do good. Be safe. Practice and keep showing up. I'll see you guys tomorrow. We got a concert to do. 5 songs, 5 best songs, in my opinion, in the entire program. Okay. So off we go, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.